Getting ready for our second game here in Portland inside the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. It'll be the Butler Bulldogs taking on the Shaka Smart-led Texas Longhorns, who have a great young talent we'll tell you about in a moment. This is all a part of Feast Week here on ESPN, presented by Lowe's, continuing coverage of the PK80 Invitational, presented by State Farm. Already today, Duke, which trailed at the half against Portland State, they eventually win 99-81, so Duke will play the winner of this game. Two more games tonight on ESPN2, Florida Stanford and Ohio State Gonzaga. Welcome back to Portland, everybody. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Every year we talk about the great freshmen who come into the college basketball game. And without question, one of the most highly anticipated freshmen is Mo Bamba of Texas. We saw the #1 rated freshman from last year's class in Marvin Bagley of Duke, and now we're seeing the #2 rated freshman, Mohamed Bamba of Texas. And Bamba is long-armed. He's got a wingspan close to 7'9", and he's very skilled. He can block shots, he can run. He adds a different dimension to this Texas team, but Texas is going to have to get really good guard production. They're going to have to shoot the ball better than they did last year when they wound up 11-22. Bamba's still at this point more of a force at the defensive end than he is at the offensive end, but a really interesting guy who's on the radar of every NBA general manager. For the Butler Bulldogs, they are led by Laval Jordan, a former player and assistant coach in the Butler program. There is Jordan as we zoom in right in the middle of your screen. Very good player. Last year he was the head coach at Milwaukee, was an assistant at Michigan for 6 years prior to that. This one should be really interesting. Butler 3-1, Texas 3-0. The winner gets Duke tomorrow. And the Longhorns with the opening possession of the game. It's Texas in burnt orange and Butler in black. Tyler Weidman guarding Mohamed Bamba, and Weidman's an excellent position defender. Number 21 for Texas, Dylan Osetkowski, an interesting guy. A lot of the offense runs through him. Missed jumper, and now the Bulldogs will get their first possession of the game. Sean McDermott, redshirt sophomore from Anderson, Indiana. Keep an eye on Keelan Martin with the ball, number 30. 6'7" senior from Louisville. Terrific all-round player. Long floater won't stay down for him. Tough shot, but Keelan Martin's just wired to score. He's just got a knack for putting the ball in the basket, doing it in a variety of different ways. He's playing a different kind of player whenever he gets near the basket and has to go over Mohamed Bamba. Andrew Jones turns it over. The Bulldogs looking to run, and here comes Martin. Matt Coleman trying to chase him down from behind. And it is saved into the hands of Osetkowski. So a couple of sloppy possessions here in the early going for both teams. And with the ball out front is freshman point guard Matt Coleman. And he's going to make a big difference on this team because he gives Texas a legit pass-first point guard that they really didn't have last year. He's a freshman out of Norfolk, Virginia. There's an offensive foul called on Kerwin Roach the second. Last year, whether it was Roach or Andrew Jones or Eric Davis, they had scorers handling the ball. You mentioned in the first game they don't shoot the ball particularly well, so they really need somebody to initiate the offense. Yeah, if not particularly well means poorly. I mean, they were awful from the perimeter last year. In the bottom 15 or 20 among Division I schools in three-point shooting percentage. Moving screen will go against Butler. It'll be McDermott called for the foul. They shot only, Texas, this is, shot only 29% as a team from beyond the arc last year. They really had a miserable year. They had some injuries. They went 11-22 and 4-14 in the Big 12. But the arrival of Osetkowski, a transfer, and the arrival of Bamba, a freshman, plus Coleman at the point, and hopes are much, much higher in Austin this year than maybe you would think they would have been based on how things went last year. With Osetkowski, you can play through him because he's an excellent passer, and that's a shot he can knock down, even though he missed that one. And it gives him a stretch four that can also put the ball on the deck, move the ball. And then you've got an emerging offensive player in Mohamed Bamba down low that is an excellent rebounder at both ends of the floor. Yeah, one of Osetkowski's nicknames is the conductor because he can arrange so many things. They can play through him offensively on so many different levels. He's a really skilled passing forward. He's actually got a picture of Draymond Green up in his locker because that's the guy he'd like to emulate. He transferred in from Tulane. sure Mike Dunleavy was sorry to see him go because he would have helped the Green Wave.
Aaron Thompson, freshman guard from Glendale, Maryland. Doing a lot of dribbling, finally had to give it up, and the shot clock is down to 7. Thompson trying to create again, gets inside, reverse, and not enough English to get it off the glass and in, and back comes Ossetkowski, big guy, going the length of the court, but it rolls off the rim.
He didn't get it to go down. That was impressive.
Lamar Baldwin. I think we have a foul call, not just out of bounds, or was it just out of bounds? It is a foul call on Andrew Jones, the sophomore from Irving, Texas. That was impressive, seeing Ossetkowski lead the break like that.
And when you have a four-man that can grab a rebound under the bucket and everybody can just take off, and he can just go the other way, it's awfully difficult for any power forward to keep up with him.
Eric Davis Jr. has checked into the game now for Texas. Bamba out on the wing. Thompson keeping the dribble alive.
He didn't want any part of that. No. Bamba can give you a little bit of space and still recover with those long arms.
Butler patient. They will use a lot of clock. Baldwin inside, creates a little space, in and out, and we are 3 minutes in and still looking for our first bucket of the game.
More Baldwin from Butler is a lefty, and he's a guy who has been scoring at a higher clip of late. Coming off a game in which he had 18 points against Furman. He's averaging over 16 points a game in his last 3. He's starting to come on.
Butler is 3-1. Their only loss to Maryland. Texas is 3-0. Baldwin for Weidman, can't finish. Ossetkowski, a great lead pass. Jones will lay it in, and finally somebody breaks the ice.
It was 0-0 for a long time.
You ever gone to an under 16 media timeout in a scoreless game?
Oh yeah.
Close
oh
there,
yeah. Do this thing. We've been doing this for over 20 years each. You've seen some great games. How about the game we had the other night? We had 32 points scored in the first 5 minutes.
The three goes down for McDermott, who until last week had never scored. He's a sophomore, had never scored more than 7 points in a game, and he has scored 17 twice since then.
He scored 17 in Maryland and 17 against Furman. And 8 of 14 from 3 in those 2 games.
Pull up by Jones, and now they're finding the range.
And that's a shot that Andrew Jones needs to continue to hit. And he's a good player. I'm not sure he's a great player. He declared for the NBA draft and went to the NBA draft combine.
And was told at that combine he needed to work on some things, both some physical things on the court. Also heard a little bit about maturity and body language and that sort of thing. And he's come back and tried to improve on a lot of things here at Texas. Bamba, the three around and out.
How about Coleman battling for that ball?
And coming up with it. And eventually the Longhorns get it. And a fresh 30 as Davis resets.
Here's the X factor for Texas, and that's Eric Davis. He's got to have a really good year for Texas to be the kind of team they can be.
Ossetkowski's got a size advantage on McDermott. Here comes the double. And with the left hand, too strong.
Yeah, he's had 2 that he would normally get to go down, but that was a really good move. He's got complete control and poise in the lane.
Martin's floater no good. And Ossetkowski runs down the loose ball. The 2 teams combined to go 3 for 14 so far. Coleman the kick. Jones buries it from the corner.
There's a lot of basketball pedigree in the Jones family. Andrew's sister, Alexis Jones, played at Baylor. She's in the WNBA now with the Minnesota Lynx, the 12th pick in the draft.
Yep. Thompson cut off on the baseline, finds McDermott. He's not shy, and he was starting to backpedal, Jay, before that one went through the net. He knew it.
That is a stroke that was honed in Indiana. That's the way Indiana kids shoot growing up.
Nice crossover by Thompson right into the chest of Bamba, who made it look easy. Now Davis has it rejected at the other end by Weidman.
Weidman made that look pretty easy too.
A long stretch without a whistle here, a little huffing and puffing. We'll have a number of players subbing in at the next opportunity, and we will go to a media timeout on the next whistle. 7-6 Texas in the early going. The winner to play Duke tomorrow.
Like the old days where there were no media timeouts.
Offensive rebound by Weidman. Baldwin one-on-one with Davis. Gets the shot off over him, won't stay down. It's out of bounds, and it'll be Texas ball when we come back. Also, when we come back, we will get to know Mohamed Bamba, one of the most highly recruited freshmen in the country. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And in part by One It All from Nike Basketball. Mo Bamba, 6'11", freshman from Harlem, New York, and a guy, as Jay mentioned, a 7'9" wingspan, tremendous defensive ability, developing offensive ability. Top 5 recruit, really interesting guy too, considered a number of schools, including Harvard. Very intelligent, curious kid about what's going on in the world. Let's find out a little bit more about Bamba as we bring in Jeff Goodman.
When Bamba went on the under-18 team to Chile, which Shaka Smart coached 2 summers ago, Smart wasn't even recruiting him at that point. Didn't put a hard sell on him, according to Mo Bamba, but he said he developed such a great relationship that he called Shaka and said, I want you to recruit me. Shaka eventually came to visit him in Harlem, where he said they went out at dusk, and he said, my neighborhood's not that safe, and I could tell Shaka, he was pretty nervous.
Isn't that great that Bamba said to Shaka Smart, I want you to recruit me. I would like to come visit the University of Texas, and it wound up working out. I mean, everybody wanted this kid. Kentucky wanted him. Duke wanted him. I mean, every Michigan wanted him. But he decided that it was the bond that he had developed with Shaka Smart and the under-18 team, one of the major reasons why he wanted to go to Austin.
Well, anytime you spend any time around Shaka Smart, you know you're looking at the real deal. And you're looking at the real deal right there, not just as a player, but as a person. I first met Mohamed Bamba when he was a rising sophomore. I met him at a summer camp where he was playing, and I was blown away by, at that age, I mean, young teenager, blown away by his maturity level. I mean, he's incredibly smart, and he's got a view of the world that goes far beyond himself and far beyond the game. And he's going to be a great player, and he's going to make more money than you can count in basketball, but he's got ambition beyond the game. Really an impressive young man.
And doesn't shy away from talk of one and done. I don't think there are any illusions about it. He's just at the beginning of his freshman year. We'll see how things develop. Meanwhile, that second free throw from Kerwin Roach, the second, missed about 2 feet to the right of the basket.
Well, a door opened on the far end of the arena. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's really windy outside, and I think it's really lame that you didn't notice that.
Sorry, that's great analysis on your part.
These guys are playing their tail. All you have to do is, put your finger in the air. It's really not that hard. Throw a little grass up, see which way the wind's blowing.
A 7-6 lead, and 2 players have done all the scoring in this game. Jones has all 7 for Texas, and McDermott's got all 6 for Butler. Now a steal. A couple of new faces into the game now for Texas, including Jacob Young, number 3, a 6'2" sophomore out of Houston. That's him with the ball. And his dad was a terrific player. Michael Young, part of Phi Slamma Jamma at Houston back in the 80s. And if you're too young to know what Phi Slamma Jamma was, go look it up. It'll be worth your time.
There's a 30 for 30. All you got to do is turn on the tube.
Yeah.
Brother Joseph Young, not a bad player either. Great scorer at Oregon, wound up playing in the NBA.
That group that Houston had back in the 80s, I think, is much fun to watch as just about any group we've seen in college basketball.
Oh, man. With Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon, Benny Anders. But I think you're selling short the great passing ability of Reed Geddes. That's what people tuned in for. That game that they had in the semifinals against Louisville in 1983, where that was just a dunk fest. I don't know how many dunks there were, but it seemed like there were 30.
It was something like 94-83, I think was the final score in that game.
No three-point shot.
A push off by Jones, but he gets away with it. Now Roach with 10 to shoot. Back to Bamba. Out of bounds. It'll be Texas ball with 4 seconds on the shot clock. when we come back. And when we come back, we'll take a look at some former players coming home to coach.
Andrew Jones 7, Sean McDermott 6.
Well, the Big East is a very interesting conference for a number of reasons. One of them is how many players who played at a school have now come back to become the head coach of that school, including Laval Jordan at Butler. How about Patrick Ewing? Chris Mullen, Chris Mack, as well. Patrick Ewing in his first year as head coach of the Georgetown Hoyas. Of course, when he played there, they were as formidable a program as there was in the country. This is a very tough league that Butler finds itself in right now. 7 out of 10 programs made the NCAA tournament a year ago.
Well, first of all, Chris Mack is lodging a complaint with ESPN because he did not play in an era that required a black and white photograph. I think he actually looked older in the photo from 1993 than he looks now.
I'm glad you said that.
Apparently he's been sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber and hasn't told anything about it.
A difficult 3 from the corner for Jones.
Andrew Jones has been the entire offense for Texas.
So it's now Jones 10 and McDermott 6 to follow up on your theme going into the break.
Oh, yeah. McDermott's got to pick it up.
Yep.
He is falling behind.
Baldwin.
I got Kerwin Rowe for a push-off.
Trying to keep Nate Fowler away from that loose ball. Interesting guy to the game now for Texas as well. Jericho Sims, a 6'9 freshman from Minneapolis, number 20 in orange. You want to talk about a guy who can play above the rim. He's got some real ability.
A ridiculous athlete. I mean, he can put his shoulder on the rim. And the hair to play at VCU.
Mm-hmm. You've really been...
I was blown away by the hair game at VCU.
Led by Isaac Van. Hopefully that ankle injury isn't too serious.
And Jonathan Williams, not bad. Justin Tillman's got a pretty good mop.
Paul Jorgensen, redshirt junior from New City, New York, into the game. 5 in the black. That's him with the ball.
Good post up by Fowler.
And guess who? McDermott as he closes the gap on Jones.
I'll tell you what, Jericho Sims, when Fowler tried to back him in, Jericho Sims did not move.
It's not like Fowler's a little guy.
That's exactly right. I'd love to see Shaka Smart run some kind of lob play just to see Jericho Sims get up.
Bamba for 3. Jorgensen, long 2 not there, and Sims down with a rebound.
You think Bamba bothered that one at all?
Bamba.
Did you see how far he threw that away from Bamba and he still caught it?
With ease. Young inside, lobs it up for Bamba, but we've got a foul before that.
What? Look at the long arms of Mohamed Bamba. Now, when they say pass away from the defense, there's no way the defender could have gotten this. Look at that. Those are some long wings. That's like throwing it to the end of a 747.
Tell us what you've seen from him offensively. Where is he at the offensive end of the court?
Well, he's still a work in progress, as are a number of freshman big guys, but he's got way more skill than I think a lot of people thought. He's been a pleasant surprise on the offensive end. You know, when he pulls the trigger on a 3, most big guys are going, no. But he can make those shots. But you'd like to see him be more of a threat down low like he is right there. Keep that thing high, and if he could have turned around, put that one up, but he's an unselfish player.
Shot clock down to 7. Coleman looking inside, doesn't give it to Bamba, tries to reverse it up, no good. McDermott the rebound.
And not a strong finish right there by Matt Coleman.
And somebody got a piece of that, and I think it was probably Bamba.
Yeah, I'll take a wild guess and say it was Mohamed Bamba.
Jones was near it, and now offensive foul called on Bamba.
Coming off a game against Lipscomb in which Mohamed Bamba had 5 blocks. You put that thing up there, he's going to wipe it away.
They both got it, I think.
They both got it.
Yep.
And Fowler doing a nice job of moving his feet just to stay in front.
I think Jones got it first, and then Bamba got it second. But you can't share a block in basketball like you can share a sack in football.
Yeah, so does the first guy get it?
I think the first guy gets it.
It's horribly unfair for a big guy who wiped it away.
We're 10.5 minutes into this game, and 2 people have scored. Andrew Jones for Texas and Sean McDermott for Butler. Nice defense there by Davis. Coleman leading the break.
Good reversal.
Bamba slips it. Davis still has it.
Texas needs to cut harder. They're running good stuff, but they're not cutting hard. And when there's a ball screen, the roll is not hard enough.
McDermott thought about it. Martin will do more than that.
Jeez, they're going to have to repaint these rims at halftime.
How about if Jones and McDermott just play a game of one-on-one?
One of the guys that needs to get on track for Texas, not just in this game, but overall, is Eric Davis. He came in as a freshman with a ton of swagger, had a really good freshman year. But last year was a tough, humbling year for him. Didn't shoot the ball well at all, and he's got a lot of game.
That's him right there, knocking it down, the junior from Saginaw, Michigan.
He came into this game not shooting the ball well from 3. He was shooting 25%, but he shot that with a ton of confidence. But he needs to get that swagger back, because I think he can really play. I'm a big fan of his game. He's got a great way. When he says he wants to get in the gym, he calls it the lab. He says, I got to get in the lab. And it sounds really good to your professors. Just like every bar should be called the library.
Travel the call on Keelan Martin. Both teams still struggling offensively, especially the Bulldogs. Longhorns leading by 4.
So as soon as this game's over, I'm going to the library.
Wow, Purdue beaten by Tennessee in overtime in the first round. Tennessee losing to Villanova in the semis today. It'll be Villanova and Northern Iowa in the championship game down at Atlantis tomorrow at noon Eastern here on ESPN2. All kinds of unpredictability down in the Bahamas this week.
Boy, but Villanova in the second half, they got outplayed in the first half by Tennessee, and the Volunteers went into Grant Williams time and time again. And that sophomore has got a ton of game. He can really play. Got to send 2 guys at him.
Very athletic team playing hard right now. There's Sean McDermott. He has made 3 threes in this game. He's got 9 points in this game. None of his teammates have scored at all. It is 13-9 for Texas in a very low-scoring game. The 2 teams are combined 8 for 33 from the field, and Matt Coleman getting a little bit of medical attention. Don't know if he's cut or what it is, but they're going to tend to him right now.
Got his head down.
So right now it'll be Jones handling the ball into the front court for the Horns. Osudkowski back into the game for Texas. Bamba's on the bench. From the baseline, way too strong. Weidman ripping down another rebound.
And so far, Osudkowski, when he's got the ball, when he was in transition, when he's in the post, he does everything right except finish the play. He hasn't scored yet.
The battle on the inside, Weidman and Sims. Offensive foul called on Tyler Weidman.
And the officials allowed Weidman to just back Jericho Sims down in. Sims held his ground, but that was a good call because he just thrust that left elbow right into the chest of Jericho Sims. That's the only way you're going to back that kid up. I mean, that is one strong freshman body there, Jericho Sims.
And Coleman's okay. He's getting ready to check back in, tying up the laces on his right shoe right now. Osudkowski again can't finish, and another rebound for Weidman.
Everything he does looks really good.
Yep.
Texas doing a nice job of staying home. Not overextending.
McDermott, quick toss into Weidman. Good recovery, though, by Sims. Baseline floater not there. And it's out of bounds back to Texas. Man, the Bulldogs can't buy one right now.
I don't know why Weidman didn't go up right away. Bamba's not in the game. It's not like you have that looming presence. You catch it in that spot, go right up. If it gets sent back, it gets sent back.
Right now, Texas is 5 for 18, 28%. Butler is 3 for 18, 17%. Sims, one-on-one.
Offense. Everybody's going off of one pass. Well, that was one pass. The defense never moved. Everybody was set. The teams are really struggling. I guess that's an understatement. It's 13-9. It's like a football game.
13-9, almost 14 minutes in. Shaka Smart and Laval Jordan trying to figure out a way to get their respective teams' offenses going. Smart, of course, that great run at VCU led him to the Final Four back in 2011, to 5 NCAA trips in 6 years while he was there, and really became known as much for the style of play, Jay, as for the success that he was having at VCU.
Well, up-tempo, that havoc style of play. And his teams could really score. They made you uncomfortable on both ends of the floor with the tempo at which they played. Good move by Baldwin.
And a good cut by Weidman. Can't finish it, and it's out of bounds. It'll stay with the Butler with a fresh 30. Boy, a really good cut, but a Weidman couldn't convert.
Just a lid on it. You really need something good to happen with your defense. Maybe get a run out to try to establish some rhythm in this game, because neither team has any rhythm at all.
Sims out, Bamba back in. Bamba the rebound. Wide open. And the three will go down for Jacob Young. No, he grows to 7.
No hesitation at all.
McDermott puts the brakes on. Osakowski down with a rebound.
Well, between Bamba and Osakowski, they make a nice tandem, good pass.
Bamba lost it on the way up. Give some credit to McDermott. I think he might have deflected it as Bamba was making his move.
Well, Bamba's got to get stronger. That's a play that he needs to catch and finish. He shouldn't have to dribble that. Just catch it, pivot, and finish. He went right into the body of Tyler Weidman. And he should have been able to go up with ease and finish that.
Bamba 6'11", listed at 225 pounds. Nate Fowler now in to guard him, 6'10" junior from Cincinnati. Young off the screen, but staying right with him is Jorgensen. Davis spins at the foul line. Turnaround jumper no good. Bamba the rebound.
Give it to him.
Davis does, again in a place where only he can get it, but he didn't see the defender coming from behind in Baldwin.
So he needed to give it to him right away. And you're right, he didn't see the defender, but you have to, because Bamba can't see what's behind him. You've got to see it as the passer.
Tough shot, and finally they break the seal. Baldwin with a bucket, the first Bulldog other than McDermott to score in this game. Davis into traffic, tried to thread the needle to Bamba. That one never had a chance.
Again, all off the first action. There's not multiple action. There's not multiple sides of the floor.
How about that? Baldwin had to get a lot of air under that one to get it over Bamba, and he did.
Well, he wants the ball, Kamar Baldwin. He can lead other people. Pretty good game against Maryland. Wound up with 15 points. Took 21 shots to get it. Played well at the defensive end. Butler turned Maryland over 20 times and still couldn't get the win in College Park.
Unforced error right there by Texas. It's a low-scoring three-point game. Butler with a couple of buckets to get it closer. Kamar Baldwin over Mo Bamba, 16-13 Texas. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. and in part by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
You need to make a basket. Not that hard.
Yeah.
No defense is this good. No defense is this good.
I like that. That's pretty concise analysis, straight and to the point. Here's what he thinks, Seth. They need to make a basket.
As a coach, you need to make a basket.
Are they taking bad shots, or are they just not making them?
Well, they're not making them is one thing, but everything's off of one pass and one action, so they're always going against a set defense. And everything's been done slow. I think early on we had mentioned, the cuts aren't very hard. And, Texas has not been cutting hard. They set a ball screen. The roll hasn't been hard. And, if everything's done at a low speed, like Keelan Martin's 0 of 7, and he's taken some really tough shots because it's been all off the first action.
The funny thing is both teams are shooting the three pretty well. They're a combined 7 for 17 from 3. They're a combined 4 for 27 from 2. Baldwin, who's got a couple of field goals, got Bamba on him, drives by him, and up and in. Baldwin now with 6 points in the game, and Butler back within 1.
Boy, that was a terrific finish. And that is not easy to get that ball past Mohamed Bamba like that and kiss it off the glass. That was beautiful by Kamar Baldwin.
Davis to Coleman. Coleman on the drive, the kick. Davis steps in. 18-footer short.
They just missed that, but that was much better. A harder roll by Bamba. They got the replace guy. It was well done.
Baldwin misses the 3, and back comes Davis in transition. Coleman into Osipkowski. Got Fowler on him. Little fadeaway, and finally he gets one to go down.
The things he does just looks, everything looks right. He just wasn't able to finish anything. That one went down.
It's hard to believe when he came out of high school, the only school that offered him a scholarship is Tulane.
Yeah, nobody really right now looks great with the rhythm of this game, but Osipkowski's made some really nice moves. Take him.
Fowler spins to the left hand and banks it home.
He had the advantage with Coleman on him. I wonder what Fowler was waiting for. He finally figured it out and just backed him in and scored easily.
So they're picking up the pace a little bit offensively here.
Does that mean somebody might get to 20 by halftime?
That's possible. Bamba wants to repost, get it back. Now he shakes off Coleman. He says, no, don't give it to me.
You'd like to see him spin off when he's being guarded like that.
3 to shoot. Osipkowski with a running hook, and he draws the foul.
Hard to deal with down there because he's so big and strong and so skilled. Keelan Martin is a strong guy. He's not quite as tall as Dylan Osipkowski, but he's strong. And Osipkowski just backed him right into the lane and turned for that little hook. He took a shot too, didn't he?
Osipkowski at the line for a couple of free throws. This is game 2 of 4 in the motion bracket here at Veterans Memorial Coliseum today here in Portland. In a chippy affair at times, Duke, which trailed well into the second half, finished stronger to beat Portland State 99-81. Florida, Stanford, and Ohio State, Gonzaga still to come. The Zags getting all the way to the national championship game last year. How have they changed this season?
Well, they're more of a traditional Gonzaga team, if you will. They've had a lot of high-level transfers the last couple years, and they didn't do quite as well in the transfer market this year. But they've got guys that fit their culture, and guys like Josh Perkins and Silas Nelson, they're going to have to lead the way. It's going to be more like the days of old for Gonzaga where the guards lead the way. And then Rui Hashimura is going to have, I think, is going to have a really good year for Gonzaga and have to earn it. But he's an extraordinarily talented, very athletic player.
So they'll take on the Buckeyes tonight in the game right in front of them, Florida and Stanford. Florida ranked 7th in the nation.
And Ohio State, coached by Chris Holtman, who coached Butler last year.
Right.
Took him to a 25-9 season and to the Sweet 16, which that has become the Butler way to win in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, made it all the way to the national championship game a couple of times under Brad Stevens, losing to Duke once by a one-possession game, losing to UConn the next year. Things got a little bit different for Butler, though, once they went into the Big East. And the strength of that league is Bamba just picked up his second foul. Looks like he's coming out. Sims is coming back in. But LaVall Jordan, there's some schools where it just seems right or even necessary to have the head coach be a guy who came up through that culture, through that system. And LaVall Jordan, again, was both a player and an assistant coach at Butler.
Yeah, I think it's a family thing.
Yeah.
Barry Collier has helped establish the Butler way there at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and it's a fabulous place. And I think they were very fortunate given the difficulty under Brandon Miller when Chris Holtman was available to take over. I mean, Chris is an outstanding coach. And we certainly don't blame him for going to Ohio State. But they've got somebody in LaVall Jordan who understands the culture and understands what Butler's all about.
Andrew Jones, another bucket, and Texas leads by 3. We're into the final minute of the first half. And Martin just didn't look the ball into his hands. And it goes out of bounds back to Texas.
You know, Dan, there's so many great places for basketball around the country, whether it's Cameron Indoor Stadium or Allen Fieldhouse, you name it. But there can't have been a better place to see a game than Hinkle Fieldhouse. Remember when Gonzaga played Butler and
Only
Roosevelt
time
Jones
I've ever
made that
been there.
field?
Yeah.
Ridiculously good. Never forget that.
Welcome back to Portland, Butler, and Texas. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Jeff Goodman. Final minute of the first half here with the PK80 in this first round of matchup between the Bulldogs and the Longhorns, and Texas leading by 3 with the ball. Coleman, the pull-up. Off the back of the iron, a long offensive rebound, a run down by Jones. Got a 6-second difference right now between the game clock and the shot clock. A game that has not had a whole lot of flow, and that's sometimes the way it feels when the ball's just not going in the basket. It's 22-19 with the winner to take on Duke tomorrow.
Yeah, Texas is going for a quick 2-for-1.
Jones driving right at Fowler. Fowler down with a rebound. Has it knocked away but recovers. And Butler, they still got 5 seconds. Thompson. Baldwin off balance fadeaway, not there. And that is all for the first 20 minutes here in Portland. Both teams shooting less than 30% in the first half. They both actually picked it up a little bit towards the end of the half, but it's still just 22-19.
Move the ball, cut harder. Move the ball, cut harder.
Jeff Goodman will ask Shaka Smart what he thinks.
Shaka, 22-19, not exactly an offensive clinic. Why?
I think both teams were a little bit choppy. I know we were. We got away from moving the ball and getting player movement the way we wanted it. We were trying to get the ball inside, but Butler did a good job forcing those guys out. We just need to settle in and relax a little bit.
What do you like about your defense on the other end?
I thought we guarded the ball inside the three-point line well. We helped off some shooters early and let McDermott get going. Baldwin's a good player, so we're going to need to do a better job on him.
Thanks, Shaka.
Shaka Smart, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns. 22-19, Texas leading Butler. Time now for the Land Rover halftime report. Back to the studio with Matt, Jay Will, and the coach.
Show every basket. Won't take long.
Welcome back to ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of shot making in the first half. Sean McDermott, though, he did knock down 3 threes for Butler. And then late in the half, Kamar Baldwin got going, including a nice move over Mo Bamba. At the other end, Andrew Jones was the offensive star for Texas. He's got 12 of Texas's 22 points. You're watching the PK80 Invitational presented by State Farm. Butler Bulldogs out of the Big East, Texas Longhorns out of the Big 12 in a very low-scoring first half. And again, as we mentioned, late in the first half, they actually heated up a little bit to get into 22-19 at the end of 20 minutes. What has to change for these two teams, or for one of them, to win this game?
That first half was like a powerful sedative. You don't operate heavy machinery after watching that, but I do think in the second half, how many easy baskets did either team get? They didn't get any. There was very little movement without the ball. There weren't purposeful and hard cuts. That has to change in the second half. The ball's got to move from side to side, and you've got to get some cutting. Keelan Martin, last 2 games for Butler, 7 of 24. And in the first half against Texas, he's 0 of 7 because he didn't take any good shots. All his shots were challenged. They were all difficult. The degree of difficulty on the shots taken in the first half was gigantic.
Let's check in with Jeff Goodman, who had a chance to speak with LaVall Butler.
Yeah, Lavelle Jordan told me, he said, listen, it's the Butler way. Didn't you see the 2011 national title game? I'm not worried. He was laughing a little bit. He said, I'm not worried. As long as we continue to defend like we did, we're going to make some shots. We're going to win this game if we do that.
Yeah, whether it's 52-49 or 22-19, it's a close game. It's a 3-point game here going to the second half. The loser will play the Portland State Vikings tomorrow, and the winner will play Duke, which beat Portland State 99-81 earlier today. Keelan Martin knocks his first shot down here in the second half.
Better movement without the ball. Keelan Martin wasn't trying to do it after he made the catch. He made that cut before the catch and put himself in a position to get an open shot.
Coleman off to Osadkowski, who was just 1 for 7. Made some really good moves, just couldn't finish in the first half. Coleman for 3, in and out. And back comes Baldwin, who did some really good things for Butler in the closing minutes of the first half.
Weidman.
The moving screen.
Keelan Martin on the right side of the floor. Cuts into the corner, then gives it up and gets into the middle. Yeah, he made a cut from one side to the other and made a nice little drive into the middle and made a simple, easy shot. Everything else he's taken in this game has been challenged.
Osadkowski short on the 3. Keelan Martin's had a really good career. 2-time second-team All-Big East performer, senior out of Louisville.
Good pressure on the ball by Andrew Jones because Sean McDermott was wide open. We couldn't see him because of the pressure.
Baldwin gets a switch. Bamba on him. McDermott, long pass underneath and tipped away by Bamba before it could get to Weidman. Coleman with a stop and a go, and a foul is called on the Bulldogs. It'll go on Thompson. The victory bracket, which is the series of games going on at the other arena today, the Moda Center, North Carolina and Arkansas have already advanced. They'll meet one another tomorrow. And then the games coming up tonight, UConn, Oregon, and then Michigan State takes on DePaul, 11:30 Eastern time on ESPN.
And Arkansas, if you'll remember last year, gave North Carolina as good a game as anybody. Or is that 2 years ago? Gave him as good a game as anybody.
Bamba with a follow. His defender came off him to try to alter the shot, and that left him an easy putback.
That's usually what winds up opening up the offensive glass, is when a help side defender goes after a blocked shot. That really opens up the offensive board. Sometimes a strength that way in shot blocking can become a weakness if you don't get it.
Good effort there, nearly stolen by Roach.
Good drive by Jones, really difficult shot, but he drew multiple defenders, and when Weidman went over to try to block that shot, that means a little guy's going to have to rotate down and try to keep Bamba off the glass. Just too difficult.
Nice steal and an equally good look ahead by Coleman, and Roach will finish it.
Butler's throwing the ball all over the place. It's been turnover after turnover, deflections. Talking about hitting shots, got to take care of the ball. Awful lot of dribbling on the part of Butler. And dribble.
Martin off balance, no, and Bamba holds off Fowler for the rebound.
See, that's the kind of bad shot that Keelan Martin's been taking. Can he make that? Yeah, but it's a challenge shot. He had to dribble like 12 times to take it. Matt Coleman is a really good basketball player. He just understands how to play. And he's not an elite athlete or an elite talent, but I think he's an elite team guy. And that's really his biggest value as a point guard for Texas. He can run the team and make everybody else better. They can, now guys like Andrew Jones, Eric Davis, they can think about scoring. They don't have to worry about handling the ball, which they had to worry about last year. Good pass.
Roach will miss the 3. Coleman, another guy who played on that under-18 team, that USA team that Shaka Smart coached. Way too strong. You can see right out of the hand. There was way too much on that from Baldwin.
Well, it was way too much Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
Why do you want to try to take a shot over a guy with a 7'9" wingspan? when you're 4 foot nothing. Shot fake, go around him. Or shot fake, move the ball.
Bamba posting.
Over the walk, of course, is lucky.
The most assertive move, though, we've seen him make down to the post today.
That's what we're celebrating now. Is an assertive move. We have no baskets to cheer for. So
do they track that on the stat sheet?
Assertive move. This is like a soccer game.
Who's winning in the assertive move department? Florida, Stanford, and Michigan State. DePaul still to come. On the victory side of things, 16 schools, 2 separate 8-team brackets. And there is no bracket that has more than one team from a single conference. So, for example, Carolina's on one side, Duke's on the other, and so on and so forth. Florida's on one side, Arkansas is on the other. Bamba at the line.
You know, one of the things when the coaches say, "Hey, I'm not worried. You know, we're gonna make shots." You're looking. If you're missing open shots, that would be one thing. But it's the quality of shot that the teams were getting in the first half. And, you know, Butler has continued to get lesser shots. That was a really nice cut. Now that one just unfortunate. Everything was done very well off that cut.
7-point lead Texas. This matches the largest lead of the game for either team.
The way these teams are shooting, it seems insurmountable. Look at those numbers. I mean, avert your eyes. 24% to 30.
Shot clock at 3. Jones forces up a 3, doesn't get it. Awful. And the rebound down to the Bulldogs. Just so many empty possessions for both teams. There's a good feed, but Bamba with a block. But there to clean it up is McDermott.
That last possession for Texas was just brutal. And then they followed up with a pass ahead. Matt Coleman passes ahead, and then Andrew Jones takes it right to the rim. I mean, where's that been?
Jones now with 14. Came in averaging 13 per game.
The horn set. Screen for the screener.
Jorgensen back into the game. A little bit too strong, and back comes Texas in transition again.
Another tough shot where Jorgensen had to fade away.
Davis from the corner buries the 3, and Texas extends the lead. And Laval Jordan needs a timeout. The Longhorns starting to knock down some shots, and it doesn't take much to fire up Shaka Smart. He's fired up now. 10-point lead, Horns. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
It's cross-conference chaos of the best kind. The Big Ten ACC Challenge starts Monday.
One of the great events of the college basketball season, the Big Ten ACC Challenge. You saw the Monday games, also Louisville, Purdue Tuesday. Both North Carolina and Duke are in action Wednesday. Carolina home to Michigan. Duke is in Bloomington. And then Notre Dame, fresh off a tournament championship out in Maui last night, beating Wichita State by a single point. They will be in East Lansing. How much fun does that game sound like it'll be?
Boy, 2 outstanding teams that have veterans. And that Duke-Indiana game, is that going to be Duke's first true road game?
Yes.
That'll be interesting. And Duke's going to have to make some adjustments defensively. The Blue Devils have had to play some zone because of inability to stay in front of people off the dribble. And that'll be a challenge playing against Indiana, even though the Hoosiers have not been quite as good as in this early season, maybe as we had hoped.
And Thompson with a drive and a lay-in to get Butler back within 8. Davis had hit 1 3, misses this one, and back come the Bulldogs. Well, they're pretty good. Had a speed, had a steam there for Thompson, but Texas gets back defensively.
Better movement now for Butler, but neither team's been able to get to the free throw lines, but all jump shots.
Jericho Sims is called for the foul for Texas. His second, and will step aside for immediate timeout with the Longhorns leading by 8.
Didn't we just have a timeout?
Feels that way.
We need to fix this rule.
In 1964, Phil Knight had a crazy idea to start a company selling running shoes out of the trunk of his car. He was a shoe dog, an innovator, but even a visionary like him, he couldn't have known what was going to happen. Back then, no one knew. Then one Sunday, it just happened, and then it spread like the gospel. If you keep your Nikes clean, you could wear them to church.
And if you go back in time, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go back into the 80s, I mean, when Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan and became a Nike guy, and that seemed to take it to a whole other level. And I mean, kids like their shoes as much as they like playing basketball right now. It's just become a huge part of the industry, obviously.
It's not just kids who like their shoes.
That's true.
Guys like me.
Yeah.
There's double high pick, and McDermott pops after the other screener rolls down the low post.
Fowler banging with Osakowski, and Fowler lost it on the way up, but he gets it back.
Way to stick with it. Texas should have come up with that, but Butler was just tougher at going after the ball. I thought Fowler got fouled there.
Martin rises up for a three. And the ball into the hands of the Longhorns, led by Jones. Young with a drive. Texas with so many wing players, 6'3", 6'4", not great shooters, but really good athletes. But they don't seem to be able to score as easily as you would think they could, given their athleticism.
Well, even after that last stop, they really didn't push the ball up the floor as quickly as you would have liked. And that's a really difficult shot by Andrew Jones.
And then a foul committed by Jones as well.
Texas has and look, Butler's defense is really good, but nobody's defense is as good as these numbers. The offense has been awful on both ends of the floor.
What's interesting is we can hear the players talking as they get back on defense. The loudest voice I can hear is from Matt Coleman, freshman point guard for Texas. He was talking about who he had, and then he was saying to the big guys behind him, talk to me, talk to me. 6-point game now.
Good job screening down low by Butler.
And the ball, you mentioned it at the other end of the floor. The ball just going around the perimeter a lot for both teams. More on the dribble for Butler, more by the pass for Texas. And Davis starting to heat up. He makes another one.
Well, it's nice for Eric Davis to see that ball go through the hoop. He has not shot the ball well on this young season, but I think he's a very capable offensive player. He just needs to get that swagger back as an offensive player. There he is on the switch against Martin. Martin's bigger and stronger.
Man makes a nice move, but then some help from Bamba. Baldwin buries it from the corner.
Well, great awareness by Keelan Martin. After that got swatted, he got it back. He had 3 defenders around him and found Baldwin on the other side of the floor.
Osakowski on the inside, fouled on the follow. I think Martin gets called for the foul. We'll step aside, 11:35 to go. Texas with a 6-point lead. Back in Portland with Jay Billis, Jeff Goodman, I'm Dan Schulman. A 6-point lead for the Longhorns over the Butler Bulldogs. 11:35 to go in the second half. Both teams, though, starting to pick it up a little bit offensively.
Well, here's what happens when you move the ball from side to side and you make the defense move a little bit. The ball's going to go from the right side of the floor to the left. You're going to let it go. And as soon as it hits the wing, you're going to see a little cross screen here. My finger's not working. A cross screen here, and there's going to be a cut. And you have a total miscommunication on the part of Mo Bamba and Dylan Osakowski. They don't communicate very well. They lose vision, and Fowler's going to get an easy layup. But just by getting the ball from side to side and having that cross screen, the low cross screen interaction, you're putting the defense in a position to make a mistake. There was no pressure on the ball. Probably the weakest defensive exchange that Texas has had. But when you move it from side to side, you make the defense move. You have to give the defense a chance to make a mistake. When you attack off the first side of the floor, you're going against a set defense, and you're not going to get near as good of an action.
Osakowski at the line now for the Longhorns.
Can I get somebody out here to refill my finger? It ran out of ink.
Must be the red eye you took last night. The winner to take on Duke tomorrow. The Blue Devils beating Portland State 99-81. A big day for Marvin Bagley III. Trayvon Duval had 22 points as well. Butler at just 29% in the game. Texas is only at 33.
Well, the funny part, Dan, like this film is going to be of little or no use to Duke in preparing for tomorrow, because they are not, whoever wins, this is not the team they're going to get.
Fowler with a reverse up and under to make it a 6-point game again.
Well, he's made some really good moves in the post. He's a good shooter that's got pick and pop ability, but he's really shown a good feel down in the low post to go away from contact and finish plays. Use either hand.
We talked about preparing for Duke tomorrow. John Shire, Nate James here scouting for the Blue Devils. Bamba turns it over. A little bit late getting over to Fowler now. They got to scramble a bit. Martin spins into the paint and makes a really nice move to make it a 4-point game.
The ball goes down to the baseline, then back out, and then Keelan Martin attacked. And a nice little up and under move. He's 2 of 12 from the field. It has been a colossal struggle the last 3 games for Keelan Martin. Butler's 20 his first 2.
Butler fans making some noise here in Portland. They've come a long way for Thanksgiving, but that'll quiet him down a little bit as Coleman knocks down a 3.
Matt Coleman, not known as an offensive player. He's out there to run the team and create from others, get everybody organized, but a good-looking stroke.
There's the game with a lot of enthusiasm and expression on his face. Fowler, not this time.
Bamba just gave up the baseline there.
Coleman feeling it. In and out. Bamba with the offensive rebound. 8 rebounds now with the game from Mo Bamba. You can see just not quite ready or physical enough to post on a consistent basis.
That's really a low base and a strength issue. He's going to get a lot stronger.
Roach tried to lob it up for Bamba, but they can't connect. Baldwin off to Martin. Reverse, no. Ossetkowski has it. Ossetkowski almost lost it, gets it back. Davis wide open, takes a dribble, and winds up getting the 3-pointer blocked.
Yikes. It's almost like you don't know what to say.
And then at the other end, the foul down low. Going against the Longhorns. Hey, tomorrow on ESPN, undefeated and number 2 Miami takes on Pittsburgh at noon Eastern on ABC as the Hurricanes try to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. The game is also streaming live on the ESPN app.
Any irony there that the turnover chain sponsored by K Jewelers there? That was pretty funny.
Here's a look at the top 6. And Wisconsin's a team you're particularly interested in if they can run the table, if they can keep going. Right?
Well, there's one thing that's missing from that list of 6, and that's Central Florida. I don't get it. Like Auburn, it doesn't matter. Hey, Auburn may beat Central Florida, but they've lost twice. I mean, Oklahoma's lost. Clemson's lost. And it's not like Clemson lost to Alabama. Mm-hmm. I say you put UCF up there, and if they lose, take them out. And I mean, that's a sport where they've been beating us over the head saying every game counts. Every game counts except for the ones we don't want to count. And so far, none of UCF games have counted at all, because they're not even up there, and they're not gonna get up there. If they beat South Florida, what did they move up to? 14th?
Still not even close enough, really, for consideration.
That's not a legit playoff.
Jones, nice mid-range jumper, and he's got 16.
And one of the few times where Butler did not guard at all. I mean, in this kind of game with just under 8.5 to go, it's not a very big lead, but it seems 7 points seems like a big lead where points are hard to come by.
Keelan Martin lines up a 3. Butler's back within 4.
This little step in and step back, and he lost his defender.
And 2 foremen in Martin and Ossetkowski. who are comfortable out on the perimeter as well.
Osikowski needed to go right into that contact. He tried to avoid the contact and went with a low percentage shot. Getting fouled is a good thing.
Quick look there from Jorgensen as he unleashed a three and slapping his hands together in frustration after he missed it.
How many free throws have there been in this game? Like 7 or 8?
There have been 12 in this game in total.
Unbelievable. And that shows sort of a lack of aggressiveness.
And again, whether it's by the dribble or the pass, a lot on the perimeter in this game. Roach tries to change that narrative, though.
Nice little ball screen, got some separation. That's what Texas needs to do, is start attacking the basket more. That'll open up some opportunities to kick the ball out.
We've now had more points scored in the second half than were scored in the entire first half. 45-39, Texas leading.
Martin can drive this matchup.
Instead, it's a three. And a tie-up underneath. Good effort there by Henry Badley, a sophomore from Wadsworth, Ohio. The Bulldogs trailing the Longhorns by 6. Top of the hour on ESPNU. From Portland, Troy Brown, number 15 of the 2017 ESPN 100. It'll be Oregon and UConn. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Well, this event attracting a lot of top-notch programs who have had a ton of success in recent years, combining for 23 national championships, 89 combined Final Fours, including, as you can see, Carolina, Gonzaga, and Oregon, who all made it last year, and 6 of the top 10 freshmen in the 2017 ESPN 100. We're looking at one of them tonight in Mo Bamba. 4 more games coming tonight. The Moda Center has UConn, Oregon, and Michigan State, DePaul, and then here at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, both games right here on ESPN2, Florida and Stanford, and Ohio State and Gonzaga. So I think that means the third member of our Maui to Portland Red Eye, Mr. Dockich, will surface. He's probably been curled up, sleeping in the fetal position for the afternoon, but he's coming in here for Florida, Stanford, and Ohio State, Gonzaga. The Buckeyes, of course, featuring his son, Andrew, transferring to Ohio State for his final year of basketball this year.
Well, Dan Dockich is going to have a couple of really good games. I'm excited to see Florida here. I think Florida's got a chance to be really, really good this year.
SEC's got a chance to be really, really strong this year.
I agree. I think the SEC has turned a corner to get back to what it used to be. And that's a multiple bid league that had a number of teams that were capable of playing through the second weekend.
Well, Kentucky gets so much of the attention in that league, but Tennessee beating Purdue yesterday, giving Villanova a battle today. Arkansas beating Oklahoma today. I mean, some really good wins for the SEC in the early going.
No question. Texas A&M, a good team. Kentucky is good. They're not as good as they have been. And it'll be interesting to see when Kentucky goes on the road. Love off the back pick, and then Wideman was wide open after setting that screen for McDermott.
Martin, another three, heating up here in the second half, and Butler's got it down to a 3-point game.
Keelan Martin can put up points in a hurry. At 35 last year against Georgetown. He's struggling the last 2 games and then into the first half of this one. Big step back.
Coleman, no. Sims has it rejected. Bamba cleans it up.
It happened to Bamba earlier in the game. And Jericho Sims, you had 2-3 guys going after a block shot when Sims went up, and there was nobody to deal with Bamba after the miss.
You can put a body on him, but if you don't, he's going to get up over everybody else and go get it.
Good action there by Butler. Shuffle cut, then ball screen, and that was a hard roll by Tyler Wideman.
Shot clock at 5. Martin again. That will not count. Hit the shot clock and then went in. It'll be Texas ball.
Jericho Sims went up hard, and Butler really tried to challenge that shot, tried to block it. And when you have more than one guy go after it, that opens up the glass, and that meant that Sean McDermott, who's really a perimeter player, would have had to get in, block out 6'11" with a 7'9" wingspan. That's going to be advantage Bamba.
Bamba's got 2 field goals in this game, and they've both been just like that, both dunks. Ossetkowski bullying his way in, can't finish. He's done a lot of good things, but he just has not been able to get the ball to go in the basket today.
1 of 10 from the field. He has grabbed 7 rebounds, and he moves the ball. And Ossetkowski could have finished some plays. And Texas could have an even bigger lead. That's probably true of Butler, too. They haven't finished many plays themselves. It seems like an offensive explosion in the second half. Both teams shooting barely above 40%.
In the second half and in the low to mid 30s on the game. Weidman.
Keep a hand up here.
It'll stay with the Butler 9 to shoot. Boy, between the length of Bamba and the help defense, it's going to be tough for Weidman to score in there.
Really tough. You got to do something quickly. Kerwin Roach, who's an excellent defender, did a really nice job of coming over to make it even more difficult on Weidman.
And LaVall Jordan just took Weidman out of the game, and he brings in Nate Fowler.
Fowler has some really nice moves inside. He's got a poised way about him.
4:20 to go, 5-point game. It's been close throughout.
Switcher on ball with a nice move.
Goes right by Ossetkowski, lays it in and count it, and a foul.
Coleman had to decide he's going to take the charge or not. Got caught sort of in between, wound up fouling him with Kamar Baldwin. Once he got the switch, little head and shoulder fake, and he's gone. And Coleman just couldn't get there in time. And you have to go up and challenge that thing. When you've got Mo Bamba there, I'm not sure you want to be trying to take a charge there. Let Bamba try to knock it away or bother it. That was a terrific drive on the mismatch against Ossetkowski.
Baldwin with a real burst of speed. With more, here's Jeff Goodman.
Yeah, LaVall Jordan, before the season, the team went to Spain, and he told Kamar Baldwin that he was going to be the full-time point guard. So it's been an adjustment for him because he grew up as a scorer. Now he said he's got to figure out pace, time, when to go, when to pass.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Under 4 minutes to go, 1-possession game. Texas with the ball in a 3-point lead. Ossetkowski up and in with a left hand. His second field goal of the game, and the lead is up to 5.
Ossetkowski really takes his time when he gets the ball down into the post. He was waiting for that double team to come. It didn't come. He just bullied his way into the paint. He can score with either hand.
Thompson the drive, shut down there by Coleman. Not a lot of quick shots for Butler. A lot of situations like this where the shot clock is down into single digits. Baldwin trying to create, he turned it over. Roach loses his balance. And Butler had it, but then lost it out of bounds to give it back to Texas with 3:06 to go.
Well, Dylan Ossetkowski's had a tough day of getting shots to go down, but this last possession, Thompson doesn't come over fast enough. He just bullies his way into the lane and scores with the left hand.
And our assist of the game brought to you by State Farm.
Really good pass deep, and Kerwin Roach is an excellent athlete. He was a triple jump champion in high school, won a few state titles in the triple jump. But that was more vertical than triple jumpish.
Matt Coleman making the play, one of his 8 assists in this game. It is 49-44 Texas, the winner to take on Duke tomorrow. We will have Portland State against the loser of this game tomorrow afternoon, and then Duke against the winner of this game on one side of the motion bracket.
Remember, Matt Coleman's got 8 assists, only 1 turnover, a couple of steals to go with it. Overall, a pretty good floor game. A box set.
Some pressure, a trap, but Roach gets out of it.
Good pass.
Coleman to Ossetkowski, and the lead grows to 7.
Every time you can get some high-low action where you don't have a completely clogged lane, Texas can get something good. That was really well executed out of the timeout.
That's assist number 9 now for Matt Coleman, the freshman. Nice little crossover.
Wow.
And the lay-in for Aaron Thompson.
Coleman just got caught looking the other way. And back to a box set, the same action. They're going to run it again.
Osakowski again. And somehow he discarded Keelan Martin.
Just bullied him.
And Martin complaining to one of the officials, saying he got a forearm. That's what knocked him down. Or an arm bar at least.
Anytime you get 2 scores like that, I think Texas runs that again. Run until they stop it.
And Martin tried to answer at the other end. Osakowski just got knocked around. Bamba ahead to Roach. Got it. Nicely done by Kerwin Roach II.
A good pass out, and what a Euro step by Kerwin Roach.
Timeout Butler. The biggest the lead has been in a long, long time. Texas is up by 9.
Texas scoring off its defense. Now, good block and an excellent pass. Now, am I allowed to call this a Euro step? Is that a Texas 2-step? Do you prefer the Texas 2-step by Kerwin Roach?
Sure, why not?
Just lets McDermott fly by, then kisses it off the glass. Boy, how about those two sets that Texas ran? First out of the timeout, and then Shaka Smart going back to it, though. Osakowski. And he just bullied Keelan Martin inside. Take a look at the second one. The first one was a dump down. And the second one, he just takes him, lets him get on the high side and locked him down. And that pass went away from the defense and led Osakowski right into his move to the basket. Really impressive. If there's not a run out or a transition basket, I think Texas ought to run that again.
And right now, Butler's got to get some scores, and they got to get them quickly if they're going to get back into this. And Butler, a pretty deliberate team. They're trying to play a little bit faster this year. LaVall Jordan wants them to pick up the pace a little bit in his first year as the head coach. There's a blow.
That looked like offense.
Roach called for the foul. Just the 6th team foul, so no bonus yet. Tonight on SportsCenter at 10:30 Eastern Time, why the numbers show that Auburn may be in a good position to pull off an upset in the Iron Bowl. An all-access interview with Lane Kiffin, and Kenny Mayne and Max Brentos will explore the Cowboys playoff hopes. It's also streaming live on the app.
Now, what if Auburn beats Alabama? What happens then?
So are you
Alabama
saying,
out?
Are you saying you'd put Central Florida in over Alabama?
No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying though is if Auburn beats Alabama, then what do they do?
Right.
I mean, you know, the football committee's starting to sound an awful lot like the basketball committee with sort of the rationalizations that are made. And when you're doing that with the top 4, that's tough stuff.
Would you like to see the 4 teams who have the best resumes? Would you like to see the 4 teams who you think would have the best chance to win? How would you decide?
Well, if you do it with the best chance to win, then you're ignoring whether they win or lose, because sometimes the best team can lose. But if we're going to treat every game counts almost like the regular season's like a playoff. Well, when you lose, I'm not saying you lose once, but I mean when you lose twice, that's pretty much it. What a move by Kamar Baldwin, avoiding the shot block by Mohamed Bamba.
He's really got an extra gear, doesn't he?
Man, he is good.
15 now for Baldwin to make it a 7-point game, but just over a minute to go. And the foul by Baldwin, that's the 6th team foul on Butler, so the next one will put the Longhorns on the free throw line. Just getting started over at the Moda Center and on ESPNU, UConn and Oregon. What can we expect from the Huskies this year?
Well, the Huskies are healthy now. And remember last year they lost Terry Lariard, lost Al-Tariq Gilbert really early in the season. In Maui, in fact. And that totally tubed the season for UConn. They were never the same team. So now with a healthy cast, I think you'd expect a much better performance this year.
And there's the 17th foul, so Coleman will head to the free throw line for Texas.
And putting a freshman on the line that shoots 60% on this young season from the foul line. This kid's a winner. Just his presence, having a true point guard out on the floor, I think will help overall a team that really shot the ball poorly last year. They'll be able to get better shots.
He's got an energy about him. There was some talk from some of the players they weren't as connected as they should be at times on the floor. And having a point guard who really shares the ball, that can help people connect.
No question. That's exactly right. And Shaka Smart making a defense for offense substitution, bringing Kerwin Roach back in, who's their best perimeter defender. Not sure there's a more upbeat coach in America and more positive reinforcement oriented than Shaka Smart. You can see why Mohamed Bamba was drawn to him.
The lead back to 9, and we go into the final minute.
A 2-3 zone now by Texas, and it's a bad turnover.
And a run out of the other end for Coleman, and that should just about do it. Double-digit lead, the largest lead of the game right now, and just 50 seconds left. Martin does not get the bounce on the 3. Jorgensen puts one up, and it's Texas ball, and the Longhorns are going to advance. They are going to move into the semifinals and take on Duke tomorrow, while Butler is going to have a matchup with Portland State.
And you have to expect that Texas is going to play much better tomorrow than they did today. And this was one to gut out. Not the prettiest, but Texas found a way to win and remains unbeaten on the season. But Butler thought they could find some rhythm in the second half. They found absolutely none. This was a really forgettable performance for what is normally a really well-executing offensive team.
It was just 22-19 at halftime, so Texas has put up now 38 points in the second half, make it 39, as they got their act together offensively, and Butler just never really could get on track. Remember, had those 3 early threes from McDermott, but he only scored 1 bucket since then. Rebound for Bamba. Shot clock is turned off, and Butler won't foul anymore. The Texas Longhorns survive a struggle here today and do just enough offensively to win the game and advance into the semifinals tomorrow against number 1 Duke. So we'll be back with you tomorrow to see Butler play Portland State, and then to see the Longhorns take their shot at number 1 in the top half of the Motion bracket. Still to come tonight in the first round of the bottom half of the Motion bracket. Florida, Stanford, Ohio State, Gonzaga. Some good ones coming right here on ESPN2. The PK80 presented by State Farm continues on ESPNU. UConn is taking on Oregon right now, and more games coming on the entire family of networks tonight and into tomorrow. For Jay Bill, Jeff Goodman, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching. Now let's send it to Marty Smith's America.